The Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes, January 26th, read by Jean Perkel. We should be able to look a discordant fact in the face and deny its reality, since we know its seeming reality is borrowed from illusion, from chaos and old night. Our standard is one of perfection. Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. Matthew 5:48. We should be able to look at a wrong condition with the knowledge that we can change it. The realization that we have this ability must be gained by the application of our knowledge. The practice of the science of mind calls for a positive understanding of the spirit of truth, a willingness to let this inner spirit guide us with the conscious knowledge that the law of the Lord is perfect. Psalms 19:7. And we must believe this to be a fact. In so far as our thought is in accord with this perfect law, it will accomplish and nothing can hinder it. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. Matthew 24:35, said the beautiful Jesus as he strove to teach his disciples the immutability of the law of righteousness. A practitioner uses thought definitely and for perfect, for specific. A practitioner uses thought definitely and for specific purposes, and the more definitely he uses the law, and the more directly it will respond to him. A false fact is neither person, place, nor thing to the one who uncovers it, and once uncovered, it has no place to which to hide. The illusion, seen and understood, is made negative in the experience of the one who suffered by it. While it is true that wrong conditions exist, they could not remain unless there were someone who experienced them. Consequently, the experience must be in consciousness. Change the consciousness, and the false condition will disappear. Conditions are not entities, we are entities. Cannot that which is conscious cast out that which has no consciousness? If we properly understood, we would be able to remove false conditions as easily as Jesus did. He knew, but our faith is weak. We must strengthen it, and we can. Let us analyze this. One finds himself impoverished. He wishes to change this condition. He knows that it is not in accord with this ultimate reality. The Spirit imposes no limitations. Therefore, he knows that his apparent limited conditions has no real law to support it. It is simply an experience of consciousness. He wishes a definite result in the opposite direction. First, he realizes that the law of life is a law of liberty, of freedom. He now states that the law of liberty is flowing through him and into all his affairs. But the image of his limitation persists. He is a definite contradiction of his statements of freedom. Right there, he must stop and declare that these images of limitation are neither person, place, nor thing, that they have no power, personality, nor presence, and no real law to support them. He does not believe in them, and they cannot operate through him. He is free from their influence forever. He then begins to fill his thought with the idea of faith, the expectancy of good, and the realization of plenty. He senses and mentally sees right action in his life. He puts his whole trust in the law of God, and it becomes very real to him as he definitely speaks it into his being, and into a being of his affairs. He denies anything and everything that contradicts his realization of the truth. At this point of the realization, he meets a friend who immediately begins a tale of woe about hard times, bad business conditions, etc. And should he listen to this tale of the serpent, it might reverse his previous affirmations and make negative his former mental and spiritual concept. This does not mean that he should refuse to hold conversation with people, nor fear they will neutralize the position which he has taken in his mind, but that he should refuse mentally to accept the false position when he can talk with anyone and not be disturbed. The time will come when we will let our conversation be in heaven and refuse to talk about, read, or think about those things that ought not to be. But someone will say, should we refuse to look at sickness, poverty, and unhappiness? This is not that we are this is not what we are discussing. We will not refuse to help the helpless or lift up the fallen, but we will refuse to wallow in the mud because of our sympathies. And if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. Matthew 15:14.